Okay, hello, and welcome to episode 86 of The Third Wheel. I'm one of your hosts, Aaron.
And I'm your other host, Hamish.
And today we are joined by Kathryn Wilson. How you doing, Kathryn? And would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, everybody, and thanks for having me, guys. So I am Kathryn Wilson, originally from Northern Ireland, now based just outside London, within the M25. No, not really.
Oh,
I'm based in Buckinghamshire, which is a nice enough commute. It was nicer during lockdown to commute to London, but now it's a bit major again, and I'm not really excited about that. I am a broadcaster and DJ, and I've been doing both of those things for over 10 years now, so I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I don't know if you recorded the beginning bit where we talked about where I live inside M25, but half of our viewers know that anyway, so they'll probably understand the reference. And you were actually a call out / nomination from Esme as well.
Yes, my fellow presenter.
Yeah, how do you know each other? Is that just through the network kind of thing?
Just through the internet, the wonderful world of the internet, making friends on the internet.
Yeah, awesome. So yeah, we normally start off just like, so you mentioned there how you're like a TV presenter / radio broadcaster. I guess the kind of similar kind of questions I asked Esme, like how did you like get into that?
So I really started in radio in Northern Ireland. I worked for two of the biggest radio stations there, did the overnight shift, the graveyard shift, then did the prestigious breakfast show. So I've kind of done the whole thing, and I've been doing it for so long now. I just adore it because it's so different. Like everything's multimedia now, but radio and like podcasting and just audio is still the ultimate intimacy. It's how you talk to people, how you paint stories. And they could be listening to you when they're, in the bath, driving their car. They've just got some good news. They've just got bad news. And it's just, I love it so much more than like visual. It's so intimate. How did I get into it? Really knocking a lot of doors. And I know that's really annoying to say. Just persisting, not giving up, not taking rejection as anything other than a redirection as well. So
that seems to be like a bit of a common theme from the presenters we've had on the show.
Mm-hmm. Maybe
that's just a thing with the industry that you have to kind of...
I think it's the same with a lot of creative fields, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. The graveyard shift, so I'm guessing that's the overnight one.
Yes, 2 to 6.
2 to 6, okay.
2 a.m. to 6 a.m. I do not miss that.
Is that so that was at the start of your career, I'm guessing?
Yeah. So that's how they kind of get you warmed up.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that like for like people starting out normally?
Yeah, because, not that you have free reign to say whatever you want, but they kind of find out if you're safe on the graveyard shift, because what goes on in your head when everybody else is asleep? What are what's the content you create?
Yeah.
What is what is your mindset? You can only listen to so much Rihanna and Lady Gaga before you go gaga.
Can you swear at those times? Like on radio?
I thought you could swear after like 9.
No, because it's a commercial radio station. So it was all about selling the ads, selling McDonald's ads,
At 3 a.m.
Didn't really say brands are. But yeah, because people are getting their breakfast at 3 a.m. People are finishing work, starting work. You got the wonderful people. You got callers ringing in. They've just had their heart broken. Or you get people ringing in being like, I've just had a baby. Like, it was surreal, but an amazing training ground.
Yeah, the 9 p.m. thing it's talking about is TV, Hamish, I'm pretty sure. Like TV channels,
is that
I think TV? After 9 p.m. can show like films with swear words and all that.
Ofcom allows it, yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that what it is?
I think so, maybe. I'm not
Watershed.
sure. You know better.
It's called the Watershed.
Yeah.
You're allowed to say a little bit of sexiness.
Okay. I was going to say then, isn't like Capital One Extra or something like where they swear throughout most of it, or they play more explicit music?
It could be, but I think Capital Extra is like a DAB station, isn't it? So you're like not listening to that on FM. You'll be actually tuning into DAB. I don't know if it's a different regulation or something.
Sorry, what's DAB sure. For us non-radio folks?
Digital radio. So
okay.
It's different to FM, because FM you just tune into, whereas DAB you have to have the internet in your car.
Oh, I see.
I think.
So radio was something that we would always listen like in a car journey to school, like growing up and all that. But since radio hasn't really been something I've been listening to, like if you go in the car with friends or something, you might just plug in your Spotify and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Has that made the industry like pretty tough? I know everyone. There's going to be people listening to the radio, but I don't know if there's been like a decrease or whatever.
Do you know what? A lot of people have asked this. Is radio a dying trend? Yes and no is what I would say. But I know whenever I first started in radio, someone once told me, you want to speak about things because you're not just saying that was, here's another song. You want to create content and you want to say things that people think about when they're brushing their teeth.
Okay.
I know that's a really weird thing to say, but what do you think about when you brush your teeth? You're going to think about me the next time you brush your teeth, just so you know.
I'm thinking,
is my tooth clean?
That annoying Northern Irish girl, what was she on about? Like,
now you've said it, I probably am.
Yeah, and I think that's, if you've made an impact on someone's life and they like laugh halfway through brushing their teeth because they've remembered it's something you said that was funny, something you said that was like, a story that you told them, a journey you took them on, like telling them about how you got a flat tire today, but you said it in a really like engaging, creative, entertaining way, they're going to remember that. So it's like, it's you know what, it's storytelling. It's like how we listen to stories in songs on the radio.
To be fair though, if I'm brushing my teeth and I start laughing and toothpaste goes everywhere, I won't be a fan.
I was going to say you start choking as well because like you mess up your breathing pattern and you'll be like...
Ah!
Yeah.
Especially if it's an electric toothbrush or... Whew.
Yeah. So the call-ins as well, you mentioned there, like people calling in saying like they had a heartbreak story or having a baby. But is that something when you've been presenting, that's been a part of your shows?
Well, do you know what? If a listener feels connected to you enough that they just think you're someone on the radio, but you're a friend to them and they feel like ringing you in the middle of the night, that's kind of cool. Because I find that really cool that people would want to do that. It baffles me that they want to. But
what's like the funniest, I don't know if you can even share it, what's kind of like one of standout kind of stories?
I used to have like the same people ringing in every night being like,
like regulars?
Oh yeah. Like, and they would be these farmers out in their tractors, or they'd be these people that work in like chicken and meat factories. And because that's a huge thing in Northern Ireland, like there's loads of like chicken farms. Not that that's a good thing, but there were so many workers there and they worked through the night. And it's a whole other world of people. A lot of people work when we sleep.
Yeah, you don't really think about it, do you?
No.
Back like during, I guess, school days, was it like you just kind of listening to the radio that kind of made you think, oh yeah, this is something I could do? Or like watching things on TV and thinking, oh yeah, that's what I want to do?
Yeah, well, I just didn't shut up in school. I always had that problem with like concentration, and that was continuously on my school reports. Kathryn needs to settle down, focus, and look after her work and stop talking. Like that was always the thing. And the irony is that I was bullied for my voice in school because I was an only child. When I got into school, I was loud, I was annoying, I was so excited to be around other people. I just never shut up. And I was bullied because I was just so loud. Isn't it mad? I often think we do get bullied on about things that are our actual like power, like our main amazingness of who we are as a person. Like it's my talent now. It's how I earn a living. So it's quite mad, really. I was bullied for that.
Oh, if anything, I got bullied because I was short, but I wouldn't call that my power, to be honest.
It might make you funnier. Who knows?
Maybe. God couldn't bless me with everything,
I know. It's true.
Hamish,
what did you get bullied for anything? I'm kind of making this as a joke, but it's not like it's quite deep.
I know. I'm trying to think. Like, I did actually get bullied a bit for YouTube when I started a YouTube channel back then, but I continued. So I don't know. I didn't make money from it. But
if that YouTube channel grew up to be like really massive, then I think you could use that as a bit of your superpower. But not sure. But yeah, cool. So in Northern Ireland, so that's what you were doing then. How did that like progress from there?
If I'm being completely honest, I got as far as I could in Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland, I'm sure you might know, is a bit of because it's so small and it's such a strange part of the UK that often gets forgotten about, especially when it comes to things like Brexit. They have a very, I was too young. So I was too young to get any further in my career at my age. and I was constantly getting no's. And I thought, if that all, the old story of like, I want to move to England to see if I can, do better in my career. And I'm glad I did it. I did it 3.5 years ago now, and I have achieved quite a lot. So it's the best thing I ever did, because there's no more small-mindedness. Yay!
What was too young for like to break through in Northern Ireland?
In my early 20s. So I'm 32 now, and I look young as well. And I felt
to say like 32.
Thanks.
Yeah, you don't look 32.
Thanks. And that almost like that like put me in a bad situation. Like that's such a weird thing to say, but because I looked so young, I looked inexperienced.
No, I get the feeling. I've got a beard now, but when I didn't have a beard, it was tough. It was tough times.
Because I've been doing radio for 10 years now, and when I tell people that, they're like, "How old are you?" Like, what? So I dislike that feeling of like looking young and looking inexperienced whenever I've paid my dues. As I said, I did the graveyard shift, so
yeah,
I've done it for a while now. But moving over here is brilliant because you can do a lot more, a lot younger. If I went back to Northern Ireland now, I'd probably get like a management position because of the
experience.
Things the things
the
I've
CV.
done here. But working with big brands, that's all what they all want, isn't it?
I was going to ask, did you go to uni?
No, I didn't. I've done bits of training, but like I wanted to be a pilot when I left school. So
an airplane pilot,
like a genuine pilot.
Yeah.
I was like wanting to join the RAF. Like, I don't know why that was in my head. And yeah, my life just took a completely different direction, and I'm glad it did, because I can't imagine being a pilot now. Don't know why that was ever an idea.
You could speak over, the pilot can sometimes speak to the passengers,
Do you ever get ones that don't shut up though?
I haven't been on a plane enough.
I don't know. I don't know if I don't think I have, no. But I can imagine that being really annoying, to be honest.
Yeah.
Why do you think that'd be like you?
No, that probably would be me, to be honest. Because basically, like what a lot of their job is like using a computer. They're not really interacting with people, and I feel like that would be my worst nightmare now, looking back on it.
Oh, see, that's me and Hamish, pretty much. Apart from this podcast. But
I think you like people. You like working with people.
But we're computer scientists by trade, by day.
Mm.
So
you like to sit in a wee room and
just
the stereotypes in it. I think lockdown made that worse. Like, I enjoy being with friends. I wouldn't say I like being out in public spaces. I like being in private settings with friends.
Mm.
But yeah, then like the podcast makes it look like we're very social because we have a guest on every week or something. But in reality, we're just like, we don't really branch out our friend group apart from the podcast.
That's not too bad though. I don't know if you think about it. 86 people we've had. Let's say we knew 50 of them before. There's still like 36 people we've met fairly recently, which is quite cool.
It's like the best networking ever.
Yeah.
It's not awkward. It's not like networking is horrendous.
Mm.
And I'm a sociable person. I like meeting new people. But this is a great way because, like, you never know what will happen in your life, and you could need me. And I've just recently become a wedding celebrant, so I can marry your ass if you want to get married.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
At some point in my life, I'd like to do a.
Oh, I thought you said you were going to kind of want to get married now. I was like, what?
No.
Is there a girl you haven't told me about?
Yeah, at some point I think I'd like to do a wedding,
You'd like to
officiate a wedding.
Officiate, yeah.
Yeah. Have you done one, or have you just become?
No, so basically lockdown, I hate to bring it up, but because I was a DJ, I was DJing 3 and 4 nights a week until COVID hit, and obviously that went out the door. So I had to like knuckle down and think, how on earth am I going to make money? So I thought, long term, I want to do more presenting, but a different style. So I applied for my license to be a wedding celebrant. So
that's it. So do you get to say your own thing?
Yeah. So I'm a humanist celebrant, which is like humanism. So they don't. It's non-religious.
Oh right, yeah.
So you just talk about the couple. You completely write their own love story. There's there's nothing religious based. It's just, this is the law. This is what you have to do to be married. This is how you met. This is how you feel about each other. It's so romantic, etc., etc. So yeah.
Would you do it for like a friend, like someone you knew, or would you have to be? For
Aaron's asking for a friend, isn't it?
No, I'm saying, would you officiate a wedding for a friend?
Absolutely.
Because that's what I have in mind when I say like,
yeah. You want to be like Joey from Friends?
Exactly.
Exactly. It's a cool thing to have, but it's so expensive. It's a lot, so you'd want to do it a couple of times if you were going to like pay to get it done.
Oh, is it? You have to?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was some like format to fill out online.
No, maybe in America.
Yeah, probably in America.
In Vegas.
Yeah,
You could marry somebody.
I'm thinking in Vegas.
I don't understand. So, wait, is it expensive for you to do it, or is it expensive for the couple? I don't understand.
Well, both. To get married and to pay a celebrant, it's about 600 quid.
What?
Yeah.
Oh man, I thought I could like help my friends out and make it cheaper for them. Just fill out a form and they can hire me for free. Yeah, I'll do it.
Well, you could probably in America. The laws are probably different.
As long as they let me say what I want, then I'm fine with it.
I feel like people won't trust you, to be honest, Hamish. I'm looking on bougieweddingvenues.co.uk, like their blog, but yeah, I need to check out, I need to do some research. So yeah, when you're saying, when Hamish asked if you've been to university, you said like you'd done like a bit of like work, a bit of experience. So how did you get your very first gig? Good
question. I worked in like PR for a long time, which was like, because whenever I was like, when all my friends were at uni and I wasn't, I went traveling. I moved to Australia for over a year and did every job under the bloody sun. And then when I came back, I kind of thought I want to knuckle down now and figure out what I want to do with my career. And I just kept asking. I was like, listen, if you need anybody, because a lot of the shows in radio in Northern Ireland, they just have presenters who are also the producers, so they don't have people that produce the shows. So I kind of went in as like a producer. I'm going to give the presenters that are on content to talk about on the radio, so they're going to absolutely love me and keep me coming back.
What is the difference?
So a producer tells you what to say, tells you what's going to be on, and a presenter does it. So if you have to sometimes presenters have to do both jobs.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And then coming over to England, did you come over with like not a job kind of ready? Did you come over and be like, okay, I'm going to try and get a job now? Or was it you came over with one there? I
didn't have a job coming over.
Okay.
And it was very scary, to be honest. It was because I was working 7 days a week in a radio station in Northern Ireland, and coming over to Nothing was very, very scary. But do you know what? I've been incredibly lucky, because when I first moved here, I thought, right, I need to get a show reel. I want to really try to start doing multimedia presenting, because everything's screen now. Everything, you have to be able to do everything. So I went and got a show reel and did a TV presenting course. Now, I don't know what people's opinions are on that, but sometimes they're a bit like, oh, that sounds awful. But it was brilliant. It was so expensive, but it got me in the mindset of, right, if I've just paid for this like training, I've just got my show reel, I need to do something with this. And from that, it led on to like some incredible opportunities. I like have worked as stand-in for Holly Willoughby.
I saw that on your website, which is, that's insane. Yeah.
I've done it for Susanna Reid on Good Morning Britain, like, and getting in with a big brand like that was incredible. And it just kind of went from there. And then I got the fire on my belly, and I just kept going and kept asking and kept, and now I have, all different clients from all different brands, and I have to keep at it.
Was that like an early kind of ish opportunity, the Good Morning Britain one?
Yeah. Just right place, right time. I know that's such a bullshitty thing to say, but
no, it is. I think, I agree with that quite a lot. That kind of right place, right time thing.
Yeah.
You said in the middle of that 7 days, you were going from 7 days a week in Northern Ireland. Did you not find it exhausting, like talking? As in, because we do this podcast, and sometimes after, especially the like 7 p.m. when we record at 7 p.m. on Saturdays, afterwards, I just don't want to talk to anyone. I'm just like, I'm done talking.
I don't really get exhausted, but I think the emotional roller coaster, like the different emotions you go through, like feeling excited, if you're talking to certain guests about emotional things, like that exhausts me.
Yeah.
7 days a week, I'll never do that again. I don't know how I did that. I think I was just young. I was a spring chicken, and I could do it, and I couldn't do it now, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm young, but like maybe age is catching up.
You're an old soul.
Yeah.
I'm learning that about you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So then, so you mentioned Good Morning Britain there, as well. So, but like previously in Northern Ireland, was it just radio experience?
Yes. So whenever I came over here,
That was when
I
you
knew
did
I
the
didn't
TV
have
calls
a,
and
I knew I didn't have a show reel, which is what is required to apply for any like TV work. You need to have proof of you presenting to camera, that sort of thing.
how was that? Because like radio, you don't have to show your face. You can kind of yeah, it's not like a
I could wear my slippers to work.
yeah, exactly. Hamish always says like gives it the no face, no case. But like TV, I guess is a bit. I feel like that would be a bit more daunting. Like even us, we don't like share our video of the podcast.
Yeah.
So it's just audio, so we can like kind of hide behind it a bit. But if we ever do, I think we do kind of want to start video at some point, maybe when COVID ends. But if we do, it's going to be a bit. I feel like it'd be quite a lot to adjust to, kind of a video camera in your face. How did you find it?
It is very challenging because whenever I did the training, I didn't realize how much there was in it. Like you have to engage with the camera while thinking about things, and you can't be like, you have to be directly down the lens, think about what you're saying, but not make it look like you're thinking about what you're saying.
Yeah.
It is a real craft.
Yeah, I struggled with that because we recorded I think when we first had the idea to do the podcast, we thought it was going to be a video one. And we recorded our promo for the podcast. We were in my living room and we had my like camera, like phone up, and we recorded the promo. We didn't end up using it because to look back at it now, and I'm
Is
so
it anywhere
awkward.
online I can watch
It's
it?
not
Because
online.
I'd love
It's
to
not
watch
online.
it.
It's not online. But I'm just like, sometimes I'm like looking down or like speaking, or when I'm looking at the camera, it's like, yeah, just awkward. Hamish, I think, was a bit better.
That's because I was able to like just try it out, and I was just trying to like make it like funny, you know. So I was just trying to use like if Aaron says something and I can react with some wit, I can hopefully turn it around. But yeah, I do remember it being weird. I don't think anyone's seen the video, have they? I think it's only us two.
No,
Aaron.
not even us two. It's too embarrassing, honestly. It's too embarrassing. Maybe like we'll do, I don't know. We'd have to reach a milestone and then maybe.
Definitely keep those videos because that's something you'll look back in years and you'll be like, oh my goodness, look at us.
Yeah, it took so many takes as well to get before we had to scrap that entire night worth of recording as well, and then we redid the promo before episode 1.
Do you not think the more you scrap things, the more you scrap things? Like the more you do it, the more annoyed you get, and then the more you mess up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because you're allowing yourself to mess up, because if you're just doing it as live, like for example, we're doing this now, you'll continue. Even if you slip up and you say something wrong, you'll keep going. Whereas when it's pre-recorded, you can mess up, so you will mess. What is it, like Sod's Law, Murphy's Law? One of them all, like anything that will mess up will, anything that can will mess up.
Basically, I remember when we were recording it. So at the beginning, I had a good flow, yeah, but then Aaron messed up. But then when Aaron got his flow, I kept messing up, and then we were stuck in a loop of like messing up over and over again. So then we scrapped like the written down bit. Like we didn't have the written down bit. We're just like, whatever happens, just happens. But we have to mention these bullet points. And then since then, we somehow made it here.
Yeah, Murphy's Law. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong.
That's the one. I was nearly there.
Yeah. So is that? Do you prefer then live to pre-recorded?
Yeah, because the radio is always live. Like, you know, it's so boring. It's mind-numbingly boring recording a pre-recorded radio show, because you're not interacting with anybody. You're not saying, you know, what time it is and how you're feeling, because it won't make sense when it's played out tomorrow. Have
you had any like just mishaps? Like any times you've like, I don't know, done something, maybe like swore or?
Not really. Not really. I've had a recent situation whenever I was dealing with it's awful to say, but like a not as professional production company. And we went live on a show. And I said, you know, just because I didn't have talkback, which is a thing, like an in-ear piece. So I was like, oh, will you just count me in? Like, will you tell me when we're counting in? And the guy was like, yeah. The director's like, no problem. I'll do that. That's no problem at all. And this was like the first link to camera. And he just shouted, go. So he didn't count me in. He just went, go. And I went, what? And he went, go. And so I'm going, hi. Do you know what I mean? Whereas if someone's like 5, 4, you'll go, hello and welcome. Do you know? Because that's professionalism. Like that's looking professional.
Yeah.
And that. And then the next, whenever we cut or whatever, he was like, I'm so sorry. He's like, I just completely forgot that I had to count you in.
Okay, so you
And
did, yeah.
So it was only me that looked a fool.
Okay.
You know, nobody could see behind the camera. He's gone.
Yeah. Okay.
He's shouting, go. Because
Yeah.
I'm the one with the lapel mic. So yeah. But that's what's happened quite recently. And that was quite, embarrassing, I would say.
Yeah, so on live recordings, I just feel like at some point I'll just get like a bit of a brain freeze and maybe just like not know what to say, like just leave this dead, awkward silence in it. But hopefully it never comes to that. Well, hopefully, maybe I'll probably won't ever be doing live recordings.
That's why you have a co-host.
Yeah. True. Do you have co-hosts on your shows, or are they mostly?
Sometimes I do. The show I do on Radio 1, I will do it with a co-presenter because it's a show called Life Hacks,
mm-hmm.
and it basically talks about like situations you find yourself in as a young adult, and ways to like make life better, that kind of thing. And it's a show for two people because it has to be that.
Yeah.
Like, what's your opinion on this? It's more of a discussion than just a radio show, I would say.
Do you prefer the kind of solo or the duo?
Good question.
Without offending whoever your co-host is.
No. I think they're very different, but I do like having a co-host.
Yeah.
Because there's a couple of gigs I've done recently where they've been like hours of live TV. And I've got to a point where I'd be like, I can't do this anymore. I'm just knackered now. I don't want to. I want to stop. And then they'd be like, "Come on, you'll be fine. I'll lead this one."
Yeah, it's just that someone to bounce off of, I guess.
Yeah.
I was thinking like I rate people who can do it solo for like so long and like they make it act as if like it's mad because they may be either speaking to the audience or they're just like reading comments and they're just carrying on as if like they leave like no gaps of like when you'd expect like a solo person to actually end up with gaps in it, but like the ones that are really well just leave no gaps, and it's like, damn.
Who are you thinking of?
No, I was thinking the last time I heard a radio podcast was Amber's one. So Amber from Wolves, I don't know which one she's on currently, but check out her episode on the third wheel. She has a radio show on Wolves FM or something, or WCR FM or something. Haven't listened in a while, but I remember like she would just like talk. I'm like, yeah, I could never talk like continuously and
to no one. Is that what you mean? Is she
yeah.
like, because she's in a room on her own talking aloud, like she's not talking to someone, if that makes sense?
Yeah. So I'm like, people who can do that are like that's mad talent. I'm trying to look for the words.
But it's like Hamish, like Twitch streamers, a lot of them. So they're kind of, I know they've got a chat on the side where they've got people like commenting all that, but they're still like in front of their computer, literally talking to their camera or to their screen while like playing a game or something. And yeah, I find that like a bit like, yeah, how do they manage to keep it like the thousands of people like watching kind of keep it entertained? Or like when you're playing a game, I can just imagine like not saying anything, I'm just concentrating on the game, but they have to like commentate on it at the same time and kind of, yeah, I find it weird. Not weird, but like quite impressive.
I found it hard to talk to two people in the Twitch chat when I was streaming like a few weeks back, and I was like, fucking hell, this is rough, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I was like, if I ever make it to 100 plus subscribers or whatever, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to maintain this, but hopefully I'll be good enough by that point.
Yeah. You mentioned there a show of yours, Life Hacks. What other shows are you working on at the moment?
So at the minute, I have a couple of clients. I work for a company called Staff Treats, who basically I host their podcast, and we do like webinars and stuff. It's all about like networking and boosting staff morale, basically. So I talk to like small to medium business owners, that sort of thing. So I love that like corporate side to it.
Because that's quite different to probably what you used to.
Yeah, but it's nice like speaking to startups and where they came from and why they have this like determination to work in the business world, and where other people are just, no, I'm going to move to Australia and walk barefoot. Because people take different paths in life, and I find that really interesting.
Yeah. No, awesome. Are you just given these shows, or is it kind of like you'd come up with maybe the idea for a show and pitch it? Or is it you apply for a particular role?
Good question. I think it's both. I think it just depends on the situation. How do you get opportunities? Sometimes I've applied for things. Sometimes I've sent in like a pilot and they've liked it. I've sent in a lot of pilots and they've hated it.
Do you look back on any of your work and cringe?
Oh my goodness. So I watched this quite recently. This is why this has come into my head. I've done some work for CBBC, but I was always desperate to be a Blue Peter presenter.
Okay, yeah.
I say that in past tense because I think I'm getting on a little bit now, and maybe it's past. But I did like an audition tape, and it's so bloody awful. It is the worst thing on planet Earth. Like my eyebrows, I do not know what is going on. But I'm like, hello everybody, make me. And I jump off a cliff in Northern Ireland into the Irish Sea, coasteering. And I jump off a cliff, right? So I jump off a cliff and I shout, Blue Peter! It's so cringe. Honestly, why did I busted my lips? Did you know that little, I don't know what it's called, but you know the little dangly thing in between your lip and your gum? You know the little stringy thing?
Oh, yeah.
So like pull your lip out and like touch these stringy.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. I know I can feel it.
Yeah.
Yep. I split that because I obviously was jumping in from such a height into the Irish Sea and I face planted. So my little string bit, when I came up out of the water, was like,
moving like
it was a bloody mess. And I didn't get the Blue Peter job, so I'm very upset. I know all that.
Oh.
Did they ask you to like do something dramatic for the audition, or was that just you?
No, they said do something. Like I remember the girl that won went on a roller coaster, and I was like, I jumped off a cliff into the Irish Sea, and she went on a blimmin' roller coaster. Like,
who was it? Who was the Blue Peter presenter that got it?
I can't remember. Like, she has like red hair. I think she's still on Blue Peter now, but it was like a presenter search at that stage, and what they wanted was like a 3-minute video from me or something. So I I showed them around the radio station I worked for at the time and jumped off a cliff. And I remember years later being with like executives in CBBC being like, I never got any feedback for my demo that I did years ago. And they were like, oh, if you can find it, send it to us again. Like we'll give you some feedback. And I watched it and I was like, I can't send this. I'm mortified.
Yeah, you know when I ask for feedback, don't worry about it anymore.
I'm not that person. I don't know her. Who was she?
Oh, that was Kathryn with the I in it. This is Kathryn with the Y.
I don't know. I'm trying to picture like Blue Peter presenters and see if like, I don't feel like they're not like really young necessarily. When you say like, I don't know if it's gone like past your chance.
You never know. It's just, I feel like it's not a focus of mine anymore. And where your focus goes, your energy flows. Yeah. So if I'm not applying for it, I'm not getting the job.
What would you say then is your focus now?
Oh, good question.
If you even have one. I don't think you necessarily need to have one. You could.
No, I don't think I do have one at the minute, which is probably a bad thing.
I don't necessarily think so.
I feel like after the year that we've had, I feel like I've had to completely refocus. You know, I'm probably never going to DJ again.
Wait, what?
Because I just don't want to do it again. I don't want to do it anymore.
Oh, you don't want to do it?
No, I was doing it. It was my bread and butter, and it was like I loved it so much, and then I did it too much. I think you can overdo things that you, and then I think also, I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but do you ever find you do something with love and passion, and then when you get paid for it, you start to hate it? Has that ever happened?
Maybe our primary jobs. Well, I wouldn't say I hate it now, but you know, like I'm just paid enough not to bother asking questions or be mad at it. Like I know what it is, and that's just the corporate world.
I don't think I've experienced that actually yet. But I can like, I don't know.
But Aaron,
weird.
then you could argue that your motivation when you lose the motivation as well, or like the drive to do it like as well as you did it before, you know.
But like, if somebody's paying me to do it, that makes me more motivated to do it, or to do it well. In my case, anyway, I feel. I don't know. Why did that happen to you? Where like, if somebody's paying you,
well, the reason that it's come into my head is because like not necessarily DJing, but I used to like do mix shows. So I would have sat in my room creating mixes, like blending blending different songs together, creating these mixes that were like 3 hours long, and like putting them online. And the moment that a radio station was like, "Oh, can you do that for us and we'll pay you?" I was like, "No, I don't want to do that."
But why?
Because then they were picking on what I was doing. They were saying, "Oh, well, we don't know if that goes as well. Like you could have done this differently." And I'm like, I was doing it because I loved doing it, not because I wanted you to tell me how great it was.
Oh, I thought you would have just sold it as like you know, like the right to use this mix. I thought it would have been like that. I don't think you'd have to make a separate mix for them.
Mm.
So like, okay, yeah, I could see why that can be annoying. But if you were just selling off your previous mixes, it's not like a big issue. Maybe.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you, of like slightly on a tangent from that topic. Yeah, are you the type of person that what kind of DJing do you do? What kind of music do you DJ to?
So I'm what is described as an open format DJ, which kind of means I play all genres throughout the night because the venues I DJ in London have a lot of tourists and people that aren't necessarily English or from England. They're, from everywhere all around the world. So I would play a lot of reggaeton, bashment, like all genres everywhere. My favorite genre is like disco, like old school,
nice.
Disco, because that's just feel good. So that's probably, but yeah, I have to know all of the genres. So when people come up to me and they ask me for a certain song, I kind of have an idea what they're asking for.
I was gonna say, like, I always dislike the DJs who play That's Not Me, but they play the house version, a house mix of it. It gets me. It gets me infuriated in the club. I'm like, I don't want to be here. Play the
because
original.
house music is easier to mix. They're lazy.
Did you ever have like, what do you think of like people who like come up to you? Did you have people like come up to you and be like, oh, can you play this? Can you play that? Can you play this?
Oh, we could do a whole podcast about this. I'm surprised somebody hasn't already. The things that get said to me when I'm DJing, especially because I'm a woman. I think a lot of the time it's because I'm a woman. But people ask for Drake a lot.
Drake.
Even if I've just played Drake, can you play some more Drake? Can you, and I'm like, I've just played Drake.
There is like 10 hours worth of Drake music as well, so you can actually go the whole night.
I know, but come on. There's more floor fillers than just Drake songs.
That's mad.
But yeah, I've had some things said to me, and it's hard for me with the DJing world. Like when I worked in radio stations in Northern Ireland, I was like a name. I know that sounds weird, but like people knew me from the radio station. Whereas here, everybody's a DJ. It's so competitive, and I could be DJing in a venue for like 6-7 hours, and then the next night, listen, Kathryn, we don't need you tonight because some guy's coming. He's going to come and do it cheaper. Whereas in Northern Ireland, I was going and doing a gig and I was getting paid, a good amount of money for a couple of hours. Whereas here, you have to like do a good set every time. Otherwise, you don't get asked back. And, somebody's going to come and undercut you because they can do it for cheaper. Like, and it still blows my mind that people can live in London and work for free. I'm like, what? I know you really want this gig, but come on, like, know your worth.
Yeah. When did you start DJing? When did you learn or like start to learn?
So I'd started the radio and a couple of the shows that I was doing, one of the shows was on a Friday night from 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock.
Ooh, prime time.
That is like the usual like people getting ready to go out, feeling the buzz of the weekend vibe. And I was playing like a lot of like dance music and, remixes of commercial songs. And someone said to me, the way that radio presenters make money is by going out to clubs as part of the brand and DJing. I was like, oh God, that sounds awful. I don't know if I could do that. Like, because there was only one other female DJ in Northern Ireland, and she was like, then she was in her 40s, and I remember thinking, oh, I don't know if I could do that. Like, would people take me seriously? So then I just learned. Like, I a lot of it was self-taught. A lot of people, I borrowed equipment and just really had a go at it, and I was really awful. And I think it's like driving a car. You don't learn how to really do it until you're actually doing it. So my first couple of gigs, it must have sounded like trainers in a washing machine with my mixing. Like,
oh man. So yeah, and DJ, but then so you're saying like you've kind of fallen out of love with it?
Yeah, I think I just overdid it. Like I was getting home at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning. I was like driving the roads of London, on my own, being a girl, having to get on. I hate coming back to being a woman, but it's so scary in London to like have cause I have a little like trolley bag that my controller and MacBook and stuff is in. And there was a couple of times.
Do you have to carry your own like DJ? I don't know what it's called.
Yeah.
Turntable.
Turntables.
Yeah, turntables.
Decks. Yeah.
And do you have your own that you have to like carry around to your gigs? Okay.
Yeah. And a lot of the venues I work at didn't have like parking. They would have been in like Monument in London, Bank. You can't park there. And a lot of my gigs would have been starting for people like just finishing work. So at that time of day, you can't get parked there. So I had no choice but to either like jump in an Uber, or a lot of the time I did just get on tubes. And I just always felt afraid. I always felt like I don't feel like safe. This equipment, like someone could just come and take this off me. Luckily, I think a lot of people didn't realize what it was. Somebody asked me in a tube station once, what's in your bag? It looks really heavy. And I said, it's art books. I don't know why that came to my head. But I just thought, what on earth? Like, they wouldn't want that. So they wouldn't want to steal that. So that's why I think it came out.
Yeah, man. That's a shame.
I will do gigs now and again, but I feel like I don't want it to be I don't want it to be how I make my money.
Right, yeah. And then with like the whole pandemic situation over the last year and a bit, how's that kind of affected like TV presenting, radio broadcasting, DJing?
Well, it's meant that I can do a lot more from home, which is amazing. I have all my setup here, so I can do like voiceover jobs. I can do radio. Like, for example, I'll be doing live radio tomorrow morning from like my little spare room here. I do a lot of video content for companies online. So a lot of it I have been able to like learn how to do it from home, which is incredible.
Yeah, it is pretty mad.
It's so good that, I've learned to do so much, and, I'm still getting as much money.
Yeah.
But I'm not leaving my house, which is just pure class. I love that.
Do you look forward though to like going back into like a studio and stuff like that?
Absolutely. I thrive around others.
Yeah.
And just like hearing people's like about their life, because you don't ask them that on Zoom. You don't really like, you don't have a natter on Zoom after you've had some meeting.
Yeah.
Whereas you'd be like, oh mate, I love your new trainers. You don't see like, you don't get to have that interaction with people online. And I think we need that engagement from others. We need to feel their energies, and if they're happy, sad, we need to feel it.
Where can people want to check out your work? Maybe some of your like mixes that you've made from DJing or show reels or etc. Where can people find it?
Just search for Kathryn B. Wilson. It's Kathryn. So yeah, I would love if people check it out. Like, I love engaging with other people, and especially if they're at a different point of their journey, like they want to get into TV or radio or that sort of thing. Like, I love to chat with people, and that that's how, for example, I met Esme. She messaged me or I messaged her, one of the two, and the rest is history.
Yeah, awesome. We'll put links to all that in the show notes too for people that want to check it out. But we can move on to one of the like topics we spoke about beforehand.
All right. Yeah.
You put power of a positive mindset.
I wanted to kind of get your thoughts on this, because like, would you describe yourself as a positive person?
Yeah, I would, I think. Yeah.
And do you think that there's like more to like what that achieves than just it being a mindset, if that makes sense? Do you believe there's like a power behind it?
I wouldn't say, I'd say in the sense that I tend not to worry as much, as in I might like, or stress as much. Like I try to in a way, maybe it's actually, positive. Am I positive? I think I'm overall, I'm net positive. Yeah. But there will be times or situations where I might be negative. I'd say net positive. Like in terms of like people, I think I would 9 times out of 10 give someone the benefit of the doubt in just that sense. Like if something's happened, I'd like 9 times out of 10 believe them. I don't know if that's right, like a good thing or a bad thing. Like I'd be positive about it. Like if something, I'll be like, oh, maybe they didn't mean it like this, and like, do you know what I mean? That kind of stuff.
Would you say the glass is half full or half empty?
Oh, it depends what's in the glass.
Maybe it's something to. Do you know what? It's maybe one of those questions that like, you'll be thinking about the next time you brush your teeth.
Yeah.
Do I think that the glass is half full or is it half empty?
I'd say more times I'm glass half full than I'm glass half empty. More times than not.
And what about you?
Yeah, I was thinking that I actually think I'm quite positive. It's just the way I say it or the way I come off makes it sound like I'm negative or aggressive. Like one of the questions earlier on the podcast, like many episodes back, was about prenups, and I was like, it's a positive thing, yeah, but you lot just don't see it the same. And one other thing I was going to use in context was when I used to play Call of Duty with my friends online at the beginning of the pandemic, even in a game where we're like losing pretty badly, I'd be like, nah, everyone just just keep playing. Like they're expecting that they won now. So if we think we've lost, yeah. And we're actually 1 point from losing. I'm like, you best play till the very end. Yeah, I don't want to hear that it's over and you stop playing. So we keep going, and we won that game by literally 1 point at the end, because the score limit was 200 for this game mode, and the other team were on 199. So it was pretty much a write-off, I won't lie, but I'm just like, no, you literally go till the end, yeah, because this is the exact moment where they think they won. So like when you think you've won, that's when you pretty much kind of lose it. Or
so true.
So like, yeah, they're not expecting a fight back, right? So I'm just like, you have to go till the end, because even if you lose by 1 point at the end, it's better than losing like 100 points, I'd say, like, because at least you put in, put in the effort. So, but yeah, I understand that I come off very differently because I don't say it the same way as other people would say it. Like, I know that that's the case, but yeah.
Do you think maybe you're direct?
I think I think directness, I learned at uni, directness causes an issue. A lot. Yeah, because at uni, everyone likes to have things cushioned, like everyone likes to have it said super nice. Whereas I'm like, no, you're lying. I fucking saw that. Yeah, like you don't have to bullshit. Like I saw it. Like I know this happened. Like you don't have to bullshit. And then apparently, like that's quite like aggressive. I'm like, no, that's just truthful. There's a difference here. Like I'm not going to. I don't know how to say it. Like I'm not going to live on like some fantasy or some bullshit. Like if I see that happen, I know that happened. Like you don't have to.
I like that though. Call people out. Call them out.
Yeah.
It's like pulling off a plaster rather than going, oh, like just freaking rip it off.
And I like to joke about it a lot, which probably makes it worse because I like to, just keep joking or like spinning jokes off it. I think that makes the situation a lot worse. But what can I say? Like, because if you joke about it, I feel like you can dead the situation. Like, like for example, when we were talking about the bullying thing in the lighthearted way, like if you joke about it, it becomes like funnier, if that makes sense. And then it kills off that sting that it can have, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's obviously I don't expect everyone to do that, but I'm not necessarily going to stop joking about things, especially like if I know it happened, because if it happened, then I would just bury it. It's just like, that's just going to be there, like in the way. I don't know how to say it. Like it's just, instead of clear air, it's just in the way. So you might as well at least joke about it.
Yeah, I'd say just different situations. So like I'm a massive football fan. So say if like my team is losing the game with like 2 minutes to go, I'd still be like, no, we can win this. We only need one more chance. We can win this, whatever. So I'm saying I'm like positive in that sense. But then if it's like, what's an example where I'd be negative?
Weather?
Even weather, I'm not too far. If the weather's bad, I'm like, so what?
If you had planned a picnic with your mates today and it started raining.
That's ironic because we actually have.
I think that's why I brought that up, because I know he's gone on a picnic.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, would you say I don't know if this counts as negative. I like to think of myself as being prepared, but I always have an umbrella on me because in the UK, it can rain within hours, yeah. But I don't know if that's negative or if that's just being prepared at this point, yeah.
You're just a pessimist.
Yeah. I like to think I'm not, but it's just that
it always rains on me.
Like today, it says that it's going to be sunny all day, but that off chance that it starts raining, even showering a bit, like I'll have an umbrella on me just for that situation. I don't know if that's negative or if that's just...
I feel like you're a handy person to have around because I would never bring an umbrella.
Do you never tell yourself, like, when you have to go speak, like one thing that I would say like can be a bit scary is when you have to go, when like say something happened like at the arcade, like the pool table got stuck and you have to go speak to the person to send someone to help you. I feel like that can be a scary situation, but don't you ever just gas yourself? Don't you ever just go like, no, let's just quickly get this conversation done. It's a quick interaction done. Are you not able to tell yourself that? Like, this is an example I commonly use because, like, even when something's wrong with the food, yeah, so this is the difference between me and Aaron. If something's wrong with my food, I'll tell the waiter. Aaron will
I'm just like I'll just deal with it. It's not like the end of the world.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, bro, you paid like £9 for this, bro. We're in London. If you're paying £9 and they butchered your order, say something.
You're paying £9 for prawn crackers. You can tell them they're crap.
I can't remember ever having a problem with my food. I'm not one to be like, there's not enough salt in it or something.
Have you ever ordered something without like onions? Or when you order your burgers, you're a big fan of burgers, right?
Yeah.
So if maybe you don't want a specific, I don't know what you call it, accessory filling to your burger, and they put it in, what are you going to do?
Accessory.
Once. I only remember once, but that was my fault. Because I didn't know what's the burger place?
GBK?
No. Five Guys. I didn't know how Five Guys worked.
Banging.
Where you actually have to specify what you want in the burger.
So what did you say?
I literally just asked for a cheeseburger.
And they gave you cheese and bread?
And a burger.
Okay.
Yeah. But they didn't give me any lettuce or onions or ketchup or nothing. Yeah. So I kind of fucked up. That's the only time.
What did you do? Did you eat the plain burger?
Yeah, I did eat the plain burger.
I would have just asked, do you have
I was
sauces?
by myself in America as well. I feel like that could be a bit of a difference.
Do you feel like now, looking back on that, you would do that differently? You would say, listen, I didn't realize how this whole shebang worked. Can you please put some ketchup on my mega dry burger because I can't eat it?
No, instead, I would just ask for ketchup at the very beginning and the lettuce and the onions.
You see, when I think of that situation, I think of the situation when I first went to a Starbucks. I was at like the Cov train station. I was heading back to London from uni, yeah. So, because we went to University of Warwick, you go from Cov to London, yeah. I just remember when I went to the Starbucks, yeah, and I was like, I just want a hot chocolate because it's like 9 a.m. Yeah, I'm like, could I have a hot chocolate, please? Yeah, and I didn't realize, when Kevin Hart or someone, I think there's a comedian that said it. They would go to a Starbucks, yeah, and then they start offering you 20 options, and you're like, no. I just want a hot chocolate. Like, I don't care about, this thing, that thing that you add into
Vente? Grande?
I'm like, I don't know what this is. I just want a hot chocolate, please. And then at the end, I said, yeah, without realizing, because I was just trying to end the communication. And that ended up with, the icing thing that they added? I'm like, I face palmed. I'm like, okay, whatever. Let me just get this done and out, because I should have expected better from a bougie place when I walked in,
I think we've got away from the positive mindset, but I want to say on that, like, I've maybe done that when I'm getting like a haircut, and like I kind of know the haircut's going, it's not going well, and they'll ask me at the end how it's going. I'm just like, yeah, it's fine. I just want to get out of it, to be honest. Or they'll show me the back of my head, and I'm like, what do you want me to do with that? Like, it looks fine. Yeah, it might not look great.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Me and Krishan have this thing. So me and my friend from home here, what we say is, if they're messing up your haircut, you don't want to tell them they're messing up your haircut because it's going to make them worse. So you need them to finish where they're at. And then you need to just get out of there and ideally get back to your usual barber if it wasn't your usual barber. Like once, I went with Krishan to our old place in like South Harrow. And he decided to take a gamble on the new guys. He knows in the past that you should never do this, yeah. He took a gamble. They damaged his hairline. They like messed up the lines and everything. I was looking over at Krishan. I'm like, I can't look over at him because he's going to know that I'm like, why the fuck did you do this? And then luckily the lady that would do, like, that would cut her hair, she's like, instead of taking her next customer, she was like, wait, let me come over here and let me fix your hair first, yeah. I'm like, raw. But he took a positive mindset on gambling on the new guy. I'm like, no, never do that. Never, not in South Harrow.
I don't know if you, do you know Tim Ferriss, Kathryn?
Rugby player? Or am I thinking of the wrong person?
Yeah, no, he's a podcaster, Tim Ferriss.
And, right, okay, no.
He's like a pretty big podcaster.
Is there some rugby player called that?
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. He had this guy on his podcast, and he's called Dr. Gabor Mate, who's like a scientist. And their episode was on like, was it literally on positive mindset? It might have been like the power of a positive mindset. And they were talking to each other, and they gave the scenario where, I forgot where it was completely. He asked Tim, like, when was the time you felt like really angry about like a situation? And he mentioned something about he employed people to do work in his house, and he went away on holiday, and then he came back and they didn't finish the job in time or something like that, or they did a bad job. And then he was asking like, he started probing into it, and like, so it was like, why did you feel angry about this? It kind of got to the point where it was like, there's literally a million reasons why those people, the contractors, might not have finished the work on his place or did a bad job. Like they could have been an emergency. Somebody in the family could have like hurt themselves, like something, this, etc. could have happened. But the reason he thought, or like would assume automatically, was just that they didn't like respect him enough.
Yeah.
But there's a million other reasons it could have been, but you kind of went to the like worst one.
Yeah. Because that's his ego, isn't it?
I was gonna say, like, is that like positive mindset, or does that, what happens when because if you're positive, you have a certain expectation for it to happen a certain way, right? And if it's not meeting your expectation, does that mean that it's negative? But like in reality, you're being positive. You just had an expectation. Maybe the expectations were too high or something. Like, where do you draw the line? In that case, Aaron, as well, like in that specific case, like someone, say you went on holiday.
I think that case is more like, say one of our guests cancelled, yeah, like scheduling a podcast with us. I think it's more like, it's like we can be positive that it's going to happen, whatever. But like we might think, they're just cancelling it because they don't really want to do it, kind of thing. But I think that's quite negative. Whereas maybe they cancel because something came up, like it wasn't because of us they cancelled. Like it was literally something out of their control, which I think is maybe a bit more positive way to look at it.
I feel like in those situations, it's like I forget it all the time because obviously, if I get ghosted by a client, which happens all the time in my industry, like you have a good relationship with someone and then they just they stop replying to your emails. They don't take your pitches on or ideas on anymore. They've ended contact. And what I try to remind myself of is that it's never about me. Like it's actually like, I shouldn't be offended by that because it's not about me. It's about something happening in their lives that I don't know about and probably never will. So I think whenever you have that mindset of like, it's not about me, you move on easier and you stop taking so many things personally.
Yeah. So is a positive mindset, Kathryn, something that you think you've had, like especially from the time when you said like in Northern Ireland, it was something you really had to be persistent in, like getting jobs and like in the industry, in a creative industry in general. Is that something that you think like you need to have a positive mindset?
Absolutely. I think it's, you have such a happier life. I remember asking like this positive mindset, like expert. I can't actually remember what type of expert he was, but it was something to do with being like some sort of guru of some description, self-confessed, I asked him, I was like, is being positive all the time being ignorant? And he was like, no, of course it's not. And I was like, but I think it sometimes has to be. In a way, like you have to choose to ignore negativity. You have to like choose to like not let it in your space, like not feel it and like move on from it quicker. But I definitely think, when you if you were to close your eyes right now and you were to like think of a color and then open up your eyes and like look in the room that you're in for that color, you'd see more of it. And I think you see more opportunities when you have a positive mindset. I think more doors open for you. More people want to be around you because you're a good person. More people want to work with you because if you're positive in yourself and you're positive when you're around other people, people love that. People want to be surrounded by that constantly.
And I was going to ask you on that, yeah. So like, say you're being positive about yourself. So you're giving yourself self-confidence, which is good. And then you're applying to say 100 jobs. Could there be a chance that you maybe go over a line and you could be ignorant to something maybe wrong? For example, your CV or your show reel. When you're saying the point about ignorance, can it make you ignorant to a flaw in your thing that you're doing, which is basically making you apply to hundreds of places and maybe get rejected or whatever? But you're obviously hoping for more. But you may not realize that because you may have been thinking of it in just this way. And as you said, ignoring negativity. Do you think that can be an issue in that sense? Or is that just like...
What's that quote? Is it like doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting different results?
Yeah.
Is the first sign of madness or something?
I don't know the ending.
First sign of madness.
Insanity?
Yeah, insanity. Yeah. So like if you're handing out, you're applying to 100 jobs and you're getting nowhere, you're not asking for feedback. You're not saying, hi, I'm really sorry. Like, can you give me some feedback on why I wasn't suitable for this job? They could be like, oh, well, there was just better candidates than you. Sorry. If you ask 100 people, one of them's going to be like, do you know what? I actually hate your CV. The picture of you on it is bloody awful. It's a selfie with you pouting like you're a duck. Can you please remove that immediately? If you asked for criticism, you asked for feedback, that will break the chain of you not getting a job. You have to do something different to get a different result. So I don't think that's about being positive. I think that's being a go-getter and like wanting actual feedback and getting it.
Does any of this like relate to the law of attraction?
Yes. I live for that. Do you?
I wouldn't say I live for it, but I
could see how it works out. And I wouldn't say I wouldn't say like a hardcore say law of attraction. But I do tell myself if I work I can, get the results from this, that.
What you believe you can achieve.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and doing this, like, this particular thing will lead to that result. But I don't go around, like, saying, like, oh, it's law of attraction. I may joke about it. I may actually pull the joke about it, like, here and there if I get the chance. But I know there's some things you have to just work for, as well as be, I don't know, not expecting better, but, like, having that ambition for it, if that makes sense.
There's a great book by Anthony Robbins, who I'm sure you've heard of, called Awaken the Giant Within. And one of the things it tells you to do, and I read it for the first time years ago, but it really helped my positive mindset back then. And one of the things he asks you to do is to imagine a feather.
Okay, yeah.
It's like visualization. Visualization is like one of the things of laws of attraction. If you visualize something in your head, it becomes reality. And he does it with like a feather. And I've actually tried that and it worked. So I'm visualizing car parking spaces as well. That is so a thing. Like, that is amazing.
This is the guy in Shallow How, isn't it?
Oh yes, he is. Yeah.
Sorry, wait. You visualize the feather.
Yeah, so it's like, I can't remember exactly how you do it, but it's like you imagine a feather, you visualize it in your mind, and it comes in like a reality. You see a feather.
Oh, so this is like the color thing.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Because I think the thing is, when you're thinking about something, so where your focus is, you observe more of it. So if I'm thinking Blue Peter every day of my life, I'm more likely to have Blue Peter in my life because I'm going to get it. Whereas if I visualize a chocolate cake, it's going to come into my life because I'm going to be attracting it.
Are you sure that's not just because you said it out loud and like Google's heard it and then they're like displaying you ads and stuff?
Probably. It is 2021. So
I'm going to turn up to today's picnic with a chocolate cake, Karen.
You should.
Or you might be given one for free. So random.
Yeah. I feel like I tend to say like law of attraction and believe in law of attraction just when it suits me. Like when it just suits my, like what I want kind of thing. I'll be like, yeah, law of attraction. If I do it, it's going to happen.
What's been the most positive thing that happened to either of you? Or in recent times, if you can't think of
Most
the one
positive?
most positive thing. Yeah, like maybe you attracted it, or like your positive mindset you think.
Is that just like the best thing that's happened?
It could be recent. No, it could be like recent, or it could be best ever.
Oh.
I can start if you guys want.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say ending up at Warwick, and I was always hoping to do good. Obviously, I put in a bit of the work, but ending up at Warwick, then ending up with a decent paid job, like that came from me wanting to, I guess, be positive, right? Although there was some like use of negative energies on that to get to that stage, I'd say that was like positive, right? So maybe that's like a basic idea for you guys to work with.
How did that like start off though? Did like you just find the job, apply for it, and that was it, or like what was the grind? What was the hustle?
So basically, in school, I obviously wanted to be the best in my field in general. So that was there, and then I always wanted to get back at the big bank corporations. It's funny how that works out. So basically, yeah, and I always wanted to do a bachelor's and then a separate master's, like back to back. But then I ended up doing an integrated master's, and then I kind of flopped the integrated master's, so they moved me down to the bachelor's course. I ended up on a master's with a scholarship anyway, so I followed the same exact path somehow that I wanted a long time ago. And then I ended up, when I applied for jobs, I literally applied for 5 jobs because I didn't have time to do it. I was like, if I get one of these, I'll take them. I just happened to have it very smooth sailing in terms of that. In that sense, there's a positive energy, the positive mindset there. But what about you lot?
Genuinely, like I'm struggling to answer that because I have so many good things in my life. Like I'm such a lucky person is what I would say. And
Any examples?
I have a good family. I have good friends. I work bloody hard, so I get good opportunities. And, a lot of my situations have been right place, right time, but it's because I've been in the right mindset to attract those things. So I think I have a lot to be grateful for, and I don't think I can pin it on one thing. Do you think being like saying you're a lucky person makes you more lucky? That's the question.
No.
Because that is positivity on a stick. Like that is, you're being grateful. You're expressing gratitude.
Oh, I thought you were saying that you're lucky, so you're going to use your luck or something and hope that it always lucks out in your favor, like gamble it. I thought.
Yeah, so like not like magic, like in the sense of if you say you're something, you're right.
No, I've tried telling people I'm 6 foot, but it doesn't work. I don't know. It's like yeah. Oh, to be fair. Oh.
I'd say I've been quite lucky in life. I usually have said it in the past as well. So even with what I just described, like that's quite lucky to end up those particular steps,
Is it kind of like just almost that saying though, like you are who you think you are kind of thing? Like if you think you're lucky, like who is somebody else to tell you you're not? Do you know what I mean? Like
yeah, it's a mindset.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Go on. What's one positive thing that you thought of that happened?
Me?
Yeah.
Marcus Rashford scoring a last-minute penalty against PSG in the Champions League quarterfinals. I don't know.
The genuine, like that is genuine as well. Like that.
That is pretty genuine. I don't know. I'm trying to avoid any like cringy answers right now.
Go on, Aaron.
No.
We expect it from you.
Here's a question. Do you think you're successful? Like, would you say out loud, I am successful?
It depends on one's definition of successful.
Yes, but would you say that aloud in a room on your own?
I'm on my way to being successful if I continue. That's what I would say.
So I'd say yes, but that doesn't mean I'm like, I've done everything I've wanted to, if that makes sense. I think you can still be successful, but haven't like made it to where you want to make.
You can say you've
life
achieved
is a
some
journey.
success. Yeah.
But I think like up to my life so far, it's been like net positive. Like, you know, I'm not in prison. I'm not like
Why are you saying net
like,
positive so much?
I don't know. I quite like the term now, you know, net positive.
Net positive. Have you been doing your taxes recently or something? Like what?
Oh,
No,
shit,
I'm
that
bad
reminds
doing
me.
taxes.
Aaron's been
I did mine the
joking,
other
tax
day.
Or tax lady.
Yeah, or tax
Or
lady.
tax non-binary.
The
Don't
yeah,
assume.
I think like
2021.
yeah, it's been a good life, you know, I've had so far. I've been successful.
Sounds like this is your
Yeah.
obituary. You're about to croak it.
Yeah.
I've had a good run, but it's done now. It's a very egotistical thing to say. You know, if I was to like start this podcast with my introduction to be like, "Hi, my name's Kathryn Wilson. I'm really successful."
Mm.
Like, you'd be like, "Who is this girl? Like,
I don't think I
what's
can
she
listen.
on about?" That's what I'm saying. Like, nobody's gonna do that. Like, it's.
Maybe if you said at the beginning, like, this is how I'm trying to achieve success, these are the milestones, this is what I've achieved in this, maybe I could then listen. But if you just started off like that, maybe that's like enough to deter me. Just because I feel like, as you say, it could sound super egotistical, and there's like a line that, you know, like there has to be like
Yeah.
of like humbleness, I guess.
I was going to ask, like, if there was anything more you wanted to touch on, if you wanted to touch on positive mindset
Yeah,
or
so
procrastination or anything.
this was something I wanted to ask you guys. Like, how often do you procrastinate? And so, first question is, what does procrastination mean to you, and do you do it often?
To me, it means avoiding doing the work I need to do at that said time and not doing anything useful with that when I'm avoiding it. But there can be cases, as I've learned in recent times, that you should take more breaks, for example. That's not avoiding work, but you may need to like do your stretches or get up from the seated position, for example. So like, as long as you don't then also like, in a way, how do I say it? You don't use that as the excuse. Like, you know, you actually committed to those, taking that proper break so you can get back to work or so on. Like, it's very tough to, you know, identify it. Like at uni, I'd say in exam period, I'll just use an app to lock my phone and then on my, you know, on your browser, you can set it to 10 minutes of max anything not work related, you know, like, and that would help me, you know, avoid said situations. But
Do you do it often?
right now, yeah, but I'm not sure if it's due to lack of motivation or tiredness or anything. Like, you know, maybe I
Okay.
need a little bit of motivation boost.
Aaron, what about you?
I think to the average person, if they were like if they were looking at me, like if they were like a fly on the wall, they'd probably think I like procrastinate all the time, like literally all the time.
I think you procrastinate a lot.
Yeah,
Aaron.
yeah. But see, I will be positive about that. Yeah, and I'd say,
Like, oh,
that
I watched a movie I wanted to watch.
Yeah, I watched the movie I wanted to watch, and like by watching this movie I wanted to watch, yeah, and taking this break after I finished, I can then go and work a lot better than what I would have done if I'd worked like instead of watching the film.
Do you really think like that?
Yeah, because it makes me feel better. It's bullshit, but like
It's not probably bullshit. It's bullshit.
I think like that to make myself feel better about procrastinating.
Mm.
But then, okay, using that same context, if you're watching a TV show and you finish watching a TV show, now you want to watch the next part. Say you're binge watching, but then you're going to be stuck in the mindset of like, should I do my work now? Or you're going to be like, oh, I could watch the next episode to find out what happens
To
next.
be fair, you know as well that I do it at the same time.
Yeah, I don't understand how this works.
I make sure I'm watching like something trash. Like I'm not watching something that requires like I'm not watching like Inception or anything like that. You know what I mean? I'm watching like Love Island or something. You know?
I genuinely thought you were going to say like the Kardashians or something. I was going
I've
to go, oh
considered
my
it. I've
God,
considered
just...
it, but I've
He cannot
forgotten.
use the Love Island example because I remember when I went to meet him in San Francisco, he would at 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock US time or something, he would have that entire section of the house locked off to just watch Love Island on the big TV.
I had to educate
And
the Americans.
we
here.
couldn't go out or anything at the time. I'm not letting that one run.
So I do procrastinate. Yes, that's the answer. I procrastinate, and I procrastinate a lot. But also, we did have a previous guest on, Alec Geller, which was like episode, I can't even remember what number that was. I remember, and it's kind of like, I remember this really distinctly because when he said it, I was like, oh shit. It was like, when you procrastinate, he said, that's just because you don't really want to do what you're supposed to do. And it's kind of a sign that you don't want to do it.
So that's where my idea of this has like the idea to talk about this has kind of come from. So I learned recently that procrastination is just fear. It's a form of fear. So I'm a big person into lists. Like, I don't know if you do this in your job or whatever. On a Monday morning, you'll have like a to-do list, the thing you need to do. You might not write it down, but you might, consciously know what you have to get done. And I try to write it down because then I can tick it off and that makes me like feel good. Like I've done it. But there's always one or two things on that list that don't get done because I'm scared.
Interesting.
Scared.
I'd say it's more bored or you just get tired of going through. But I do agree with that you have to write it down because in like, maybe since like uni, I learned that if you write down what you need to do. So at uni in 4th year especially, I'll just have my wall. I'll keep putting sticky notes, things I need to get done. So when I come home, the wall looks messy because there's sticky notes on it. So I need to start accomplishing these tasks. And I do that at work as well, like just because you have to get things done. And if you just make a mental note, it's not enough. Like I feel if you want to get it done, you need to write it down. But then you may still not end up getting something that was written down done. But I don't know. Fear is like a weird one.
Because that's like, because you're saying physical clutter, which is mental clutter. So you have to like get rid of those sticky notes to get it out of your head. So that's it.
But what's the fear about? Like what are you scared of?
So that's the point. Like it doesn't really like immediately come to you as fear. But if you have a to-do list and say you told me not right now what you have to do tomorrow and I wrote it all down and you had to do it in the order I told you to do it in, you'd be like, well, I don't want to do it that way. You'd have a reason to do the thing you want to do the least, you'll do it last because you don't want to do it. Because like, I know for me, it's like stupid things like having to re-email a client because they haven't paid my invoice yet. I know I'm potentially sabotaging a relationship. Do you know, like silly things like that? So I'm like, oh, I'll put that off for a week and hopefully they'll pay me. It's things like that, like, and really it boils down to fear. You're afraid of something. You're afraid of not being able to achieve that task as quick as you can do the other things because you don't think you're great at it or you've lost confidence in it. There's always something like deep. There's a bit of fear.
Oh, that's interesting. I try to like move it around based on the time availability, the other bursts of work I'll not be able to do. So like say it's like 11:40 and there's like 4 tasks. One of them's a 10-minute task. I can get the 10-minute task done now. And then the other 3, I'll fit it into depending on when the bursts are between calls or whatever, because I feel like that. But the fear thing, I'm going to have to think about that after. Like, am I afraid of certain tasks?
You sound like you're uber productive. So to be honest, I don't think anything scares you.
It looks like that. It basically, what I tell people is, because people always assume we're super, super organized. We're organized, but everything is still chaos. So what we do is, we have basically, say we have a lot of chaos happening in our life, in different parts of our life. All we do is we schedule it to happen at a certain time. So the chaos is like constrained into a schedule or so. But that doesn't mean that the things happening aren't chaos. It's just organizing the chaos a little bit so that it's not ripping your life apart, as per se. But I wouldn't say that it makes us look overproductive because like it depends on the angle. If you look at it from outside angle, obviously it's going to look like we're super organized. And I don't deny that. But like, yeah, if you're doing multiple things, you will see the chaos in those things when you get to that, that section of task. Like when you pick up your task from your to-do list, that thing must have initially been in some sort of mess anyways. Now you have to organize it or complete it.
Can you think of anything in your life not right now that you've been putting off? It doesn't have to be work related. It could be like you've been meaning to ring the doctors, but it's going to take ages to get through to the doctors because you need an appointment because you've a dodgy mole or something.
Not right now, but I remember putting off my tax return for
I think a multiple
so
things.
long that I got fined because I didn't do it on time.
And why didn't you do it?
I put it down more to like laziness than fear. Just me being like, oh, I can't be. But then that could be because who wants to fill out the tax return? Like, it's just a boring, it's like a boring task. And like, does that mean I'm scared of doing that instead of something else? I don't know. But right now, the thing is with the podcast, I think we've got into a bit of a routine, especially because we're releasing every week. It's like, okay, we recorded the weekend, we spend the week editing. By the Saturday, we have to have it uploaded, or Sunday morning, we have to have it uploaded, have to make the graphics by that time as well, have to prepare a post to like publish, prepare the show notes, all that. So I feel like in terms of podcasts anyway, it's definitely a routine.
I'll say yesterday I was actually putting off so at the beginning of our current, format of description, we have like a little, like a few word, like way to kick off like how we want the episode to sound, or based on what was in the episode. So yesterday, because I didn't want it to be a shit, like, description start. So yesterday's one was like challenging status quo. That was the start. But I couldn't think of that for so long. And I was like, I don't want to say something shit right now. So I'm just going to wait till it comes to me. And that took till like the end of the day for it to just occur to me. I'm like, oh shit, we could write that. If Aaron's fine, then that's the final description for the podcast, and that's sorted, So I'll say I was putting that off yesterday, and that was for like half a day. And I even had a nap in the day because I had to catch up sleep. So I don't know if that was.
So you put that off because you couldn't think. So you had a blank. So you were like, I'll just leave it because I can't think right now. So that I suppose there is a little, that was like low confidence because you didn't want to do it right there and then because you couldn't think of anything. And that happens to me so much.
Is there anything that you're procrastinating over right now?
There's a few things, like I really hate like getting back in contact with people, being like, hi, I'm still here. Give me a gig. I really want one. Without saying that. Like, I hate it because it's like, it's just disingenuous. There's no, I don't want to like hit you up like you're my mate because you're not. You're a client that I want to get work from. So I think I procrastinate that a lot. Just because I can read the room. It's like somebody's left you unread and you're messaging them again. It's like awful. Are
you a slow replier to like texts? Or you say a quick? Does that come into like procrastination? Like when people are slow at replying?
Just depends on the situation. I'm probably too responsive. I need to like turn off my notifications on my phone because I'll like if you ask me something, I'll probably reply to you like if my phone's near me. And I hate that. I hate that about our generation, that we're too like knee jerk reaction to everything.
I think you should reply as soon as you can. Like that's my thing. But if you're gonna reply a week later, like come on, like I'm sure in that week here you must have been like taking a dump and you had time to. You were on your phone, but you chose not to do it. That's just stupid.
Listen, no message is still a message.
Oh,
because I always think to myself, for dating, that is like you should have that imprinted in your mind. If someone is not replying to your messages, everybody takes poos. As you've just said, most people sit on their phone, and I'm sure they've had a poo since they haven't replied to you. They just have chosen.
Could that be seen as negative though?
Aaron's hurting right now. You can't.
No.
I'm sorry.
Trust me. I've got all the messages. Don't worry. And on that note, was there anything else you wanted to touch on before we round up the episode?
No. I think we definitely have like changed direction of everything I suggested, but I love that. That's the best part of a conversation, really, isn't it?
Awesome. So how we end off each episode is basically we have some final questions, a call out, and then a shout out. So the final questions for you. The first one is, if you had a podcast of your own, or like say you're like on the radio, you're on your own show, and you've had the chance to have any guest on, anyone in the world, who would that guest be?
Oh, that's a good question. I feel like I should really. Do you know what? I would love to have interviewed Michael Jackson. I think he's fascinating. And I'd kind of love to have like a cup of tea with Oprah because she's just a ledge. Like, yeah, I feel like there's like a couple of political figures and things that I'd like to sit down with. But to be honest, I'd just like to strangle a lot of people. I think I'd like to sit down with Donald Trump because I'm intrigued by how much hate. Do you know what I mean? Like, I find him fascinating because he's so hated and so thick.
I don't know if he'd come on now that you said that, but
the second question is, if you had to listen to one song or album for the rest of your life, what would it be?
So it's a great song. It's called Deepest Blue by a band called Deepest Blue. And it's like an old, and it just reminds me of like being on holiday with my parents whenever I was younger, and like sunshine, and it just makes me feel happy whenever I listen to it. And also Roger Sanchez, Another Chance. I think I love the song so much because in the music video, the girl has a massive heart. She's like carrying it around New York, and people are horrible to her, and her heart gets smaller so she can like hold it in her hand. And then somebody shows their love again, and it gets bigger again. I just think it's really
that's
sweet.
deep. That sounds deep.
When someone says holding the heart in the hand, I think of the LowKiy album cover where he's ripped out his heart and he's holding it in his hand.
Third and final question. So this is actually a question we ask every guest, the same one, and that is, what has been your most memorable third wheeling experience?
Oh, don't know actually, to be honest. I think I love being a third wheel.
That's a different answer.
I find comfort in discomfort.
Oh, see, I hate that. I can't. If the situation's uncomfortable, I'm like,
When you say that, are you trying to make you finding comfort in making others uncomfortable, or?
Well, I would hate to be in a situation where I'm like with a couple who are like arguing. That sounds absolutely horrendous. But I enjoy making things uncomfortable.
or like just an awkward joke in there or
for
something.
a bit of fun.
Yeah.
The next section is basically a call out / nomination, so you can nominate one or many people to hopefully be a guest on in the future.
A girl called Daisy Bell, who's another presenter, because I know you want. Would you prefer genuinely if the person wasn't a presenter?
We wouldn't mind.
You don't mind. Give one presenter and one non-presenter.
Wouldn't mind. Okay, so my friend Fat, and Brogan.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, we'll tag him when we release your episode.
I definitely think Fat, because I think you'd love having him on.
Awesome.
He's brilliant.
And last bit's a shout out. So basically anything you want to just like plug, promote, we'll put the links to it in the show notes. So yeah, Kathryn, anything?
Just want to promote myself. Like,
Yeah, go for it.
Because I'm successful. And I think genuinely, like, I've loved our discussion today, and really things we've touched on about being positive. And I think that, you know, if you live a more positive life, you'll live a happier life.
Awesome. Hamish?
Yeah, I also did appreciate the questions as well, because it's not often we have presenters on that ask us questions and we're like, oh shit, need to answer. Where was it? So my shout's going to be for another album that released also this weekend, AJ Tracey Flu Game. Go listen to it. Some of the tracks were already out, so you would have heard some of them, but there's a good few bangers in there.
I'm going to shout out a couple of previous episodes we've released from presenters. So if you like this episode, go check them out as well. So Esme, who nominated Kathryn, and also Amber Sandhu, who Hamish mentioned earlier on in the episode. Yeah, I'll put links to each of their episodes in the description. So if you're interested, go check that out. And yeah, awesome. That's the end of the episode. Kathryn, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Nice meeting you as well.
And yeah, I guess we'll talk to you next week. All right. See you guys.
In a bit. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.
The studio's my second home. That's why I have it in my bedroom. I really do this all on my own. A shark quarry and my brother home. He was here from the day one. And not gonna lie, he's a real one. In my team there are no fake ones. It's a fake love. No,